Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and I am in the doghouse. Here's why. It's this puzzle on the screen, which is by none other than the Dutch constructor Art van de Wetering, one of the world's premier Sudoku makers and also one of our most popular authors. And this puzzle is extremely interesting, let's just say that. We received an email yesterday which contained this puzzle, and I happened to open the email. It's addressed to Cracking the Cryptic, and inside the email it basically just started by explaining a very, very unusual Sudoku trick, which I'm going to go into in just a few seconds' time. Anyway, this Sudoku trick is apparently necessary to solve the puzzle. And I did what we always do with our puzzles, which I sent it to one of our testers to test solve. And the tester was very quick, sent it back and said, "This is an absolute masterpiece. The trick is fantastic. Go ahead, green light for a video." So what I did was I sent the puzzle over to our dear friend Mark. But I accidentally, on purpose, forgot to tell him the trick. Anyway, I've just received a phone call from Mark. Mark is not a happy boy at all. I think he spent well over an hour trying to solve the puzzle without knowing the trick. And he didn't manage to solve it. And annoyingly, he's saying that he won't actually... I've been trying to say he should release the video anyway, because I think it would be funny. But he is adamant that this video will never see the light of day. So we can only share his pain through the mediums of our imaginations. Unfortunately, I have a very vivid imagination, so I am enjoying his pain in full technicolor. Anyway, so what we're left with, I'm afraid, is I'm going to have to solve the puzzle knowing the trick, and I think that's fair because this trick is it's very, very unusual. It's extremely clever, and I can say this without fear of contradiction. I wouldn't be able to spot this if you presented me with this puzzle and this trick is necessary to solve the puzzle, and the fact that Mark hasn't been able to solve it, not knowing the trick, suggests that it's not solvable unless you know the trick. Basically means that this is probably the most sensible way of doing it. So I will explain it to you in just a second. One announcement before we do that. Some of you have already spotted this, but there is a new Steam page up announcing the upcoming killer Sudoku app that many of you have been waiting for. We hope to release it on the 4th of December, there or thereabouts. And we are working as hard as we can when we're not doing videos where we fail to solve puzzles. The reason it's taking time, by the way, is because this time in this app we've got more guest puzzles than we've had before, so it's quite easy for Mark and I to write the hints if we've made the puzzles ourselves, because we know the tricks involved in the puzzle. This time we have got some of the world's very best constructors of these sorts of puzzles, well, in fact, of any sorts of puzzles. So people like Fistemafel, Prasanna Seshadri, Bastien Valgem, Christoph Seeliger, Sam Kappelman-Lyons, Richard Stolk. They have been providing puzzles for this app, and these puzzles are masterpieces. They are absolutely beautiful. So the killer app is going to be incredible. It's going to be full of puzzles to savor. But one consequence of it being full of so many brilliant puzzles is it's taking Mark and I longer to test them and to hint them. So that's why you're just going to have to bear with us, but it's not long now. Now, what are the rules for this puzzle? Let me read them to you. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells separated by a knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So that one, if it was a chess knight, it could jump to a variety of cells, those ones. None of these yellow cells can contain a 1, because if there was a 1 in any of these yellow cells, it would be a knight's move away from the same digit, and that is not allowed. Along the thermometer, digits must increase from the bulb end. That's one thermometer look. And as usual, we've just got to make sure as we move along the thermometer, we increase the digits as we go. And here's the unusual rule. Right, the blue tetrominoes contain the same 4 digits. So whatever we put in those 4 squares has to be identical to whatever we put in those 4 squares. And this leads to some magic. So this is what I'm about to show you is what Mark didn't know. And you can make your own judgment as to whether I was fair not to tell him. So I need a blank grid to show you this. And we're going to have to do some thinking. So the idea to start with is to realise something completely obvious, which is that a Sudoku contains exactly 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9. And that's fairly obvious. Obviously, a Sudoku contains 9 boxes, each of which contains the digits 1 to 9. You can think of it in rows if you like, or columns, but it definitely contains 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9. So I'm going to just define the Sudoku as S, and I'm going to define the set of the digits 1 to 9 as N. Now, how would you define then this region I'm going to draw in the grid? Let's draw a region. Oh no, I messed it up, but I can correct it. How would we define this region? Now, I'm going to call this region R. And if we think about it, we could define R in terms of we've got 5 complete rows in R. We've also got 5 complete columns. So we could describe R as being 10 sets of the digits 1 to 9, 10n, but obviously we've double counted in that this 5 by 5 region, because this 5 by 5 region appears in both the rows and the columns. So we've got 10n minus whatever these cells are, so these green cells. So I'm going to define R as 10n minus the greens. Now here's where it starts to get fascinating, because we can now define the Sudoku in a slightly different way. The whole Sudoku is obviously equal to 9 lots of n. That was one of the ways we defined it. But it's also equal to the region R plus this 4 by 4 region at the bottom. But we know that R is equal to 10n minus the greens. So now we've got a whole new way of describing the Sudoku. We've got 9n is equal to 10n minus greens plus blues. Now if we rearrange that equation slightly, we get a quite remarkable thing, which is that the green region is equal, the digits in the green region are exactly equal to the digits in the blue region plus 1 lot of n, plus 1 set of the digits 1 to 9. So these 25 cells are exactly the same as the digits we put in the blue region plus 1 more set of the digits 1 to 9, and that holds for any Sudoku puzzle, which is already pretty fascinating and will probably be something that constructors will now use to set fiendish puzzles for us. But Art van der Wetering takes this further, because he then, in this puzzle we're going to look at, he sets these cells here equal to one another. And that allows us to build up a quite remarkable result. And let me show you how. So, how would we can we identify what these cells are? If we're told that these red regions contain the same digits, what digits must be in this dogleg region here? And it's pretty obvious. This has got to be the set of the digits 1 to 9. And we know that because this column contains the set of the digits 1 to 9. And if I get down to here, and rather than taking those bottom 4 digits, I take the same 4 digits by turning left, I must have the digits 1 to 9. So in fact, the green region can be described in a different way, therefore. In a puzzle where these tetrominoes are equal, we can define the green region as equal to 1 set of the digits 1 to 9, plus another set of the digits 1 to 9, because box 1 will contain the digits 1 to 9, plus this 7-cell region. So let's make that that region. What can I make it? Maybe I'll make it orange. I don't really like the fact I'm going to change those to grey, I think. So now one side of our equation has changed. On one side of the equation, rather than the green cells we had originally, we've got 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9, 2n, plus this orange region. But now take another look at the bottom of the grid, where we had 1 set of the digits 1 to 9, plus the blue squares. But the blue squares, if we look at them carefully, they contain a complete box of the Sudoku. So that means the right-hand side of the equation can be re-expressed as equal to n plus another lot of n plus these squares. But if that's true, on both sides of that equation we have 2n. So we can just cancel that out. And if we cancel it out, we are left with the extraordinary fact that in a Sudoku where the grey cells contain the same digits, this 7-cell region and this 7-cell region contain identical digits. Now that is pretty amazing, very surprising, and actually, potentially even usable in Sudokus where you aren't told this to beginning. If you happen to spot that, and it doesn't just have to be these two, if it could be those two as well. If you happen to spot this, if these two tetrominoes contain the same digits, or these two contain the same digits, you could actually use this to solve a real puzzle, because it will be true. So what we've got to remember in solving this puzzle is that these 7-cell regions are the same, and this is what Mark didn't know, and we will see now whether or not that was a handicap, because sorry, it's just this thermometer here is obviously rather interesting in the context of this orange region here, because if you happen to know this trick, we now know for sure that this. So before we start the Sudoku, we know from Ard's trick that this thermometer contains the identical digits to whatever appears in this 7-cell region, and that looks like straight away it's going to be quite useful. Now, let's see. Anyway, do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. And with that, I get to play. Let's get cracking and see how we go. So we've got a 7-cell thermometer that we know must have a 2, 4 and a 5 on it. Probably that's knowledge that Mark never had. Now, if we start with a 7-cell thermometer and imagine we didn't know this, we can do this sort of thing. Those are the potential digits in each cell. So let's do this seriously and see where we get to. That square's a 9, because it can't be a 7 or an 8. This square can't be a 4. And if this square can't be a 4, that square can't be a 5, and that square can't be a 6. Now knight's move, that's 8, sees this square, so that's 7, that's 6, that's 5. Whoops. Right. I would love to know whether Mark got to this point even. But the 4 here is because there's a 4 in the purple, we know there must be a 4 on this thermometer. Now we've just worked out there's a 5 on the thermometer. Now the number of digits between 4 and 5 that you can put in a Sudoku is exactly 0. So the 4 must go there. That can't be a 3, because if it was, that would have no fill. Okay, I don't think we know. We know one of those is a 2, but I'm not sure we know which one yet. 2 can't go here because of the knight's move, so 2 must be in one of those cells. 4 by Sudoku must be here because of this 4 here. So 4 goes in one of those 2 cells. 5. We can place 5 in this box. These 5s are pointing at those 2 squares, but that one is a knight's move away from that one, so that's a 5. Can't quite see how to use that yet. 5 is locked into one of 2 places in box 3. 4 must be here in box 6. These 2 squares, well, these 3 squares are 1, 2 and 8, and there's a 1 here, so they can't be 1, so this is a 1. And so far I do not know what the problem Mark had with this puzzle is. It's quite straightforward. Now 1 must be in one of these 3 squares. I shouldn't have said it's quite straightforward the moment before I sort of come to an absolute grinding halt. Okay. So we've got 5 digits, look, in, well, 5 digits approximately placed in row 4. So we're still looking for 3, 6, 7, and, oh, 2. What am I doing? 2 is looking at that cell. So this is 2. So 2 must be in one of those 2 positions. It can't go here because of a combination of knight's moves hitting this cell. This 2 is seeing that cell. So that's got to be a 3. This has got to be a 2. We know there's a 2 on this thermometer because there's a 2 in the purples. Now, so is 2 restricted in this box? Not really, actually. Well, it is a bit. It's got to go in one of 3 places. I'm not sure whether I'm prepared to pencil mark that yet. I think if we get desperate, we might come back and do that. 4. 4 is locked into one of 2 places. 3 is locked into one of 2 places by the combination of this 3 and the knight's move. Look, gets rid of quite a lot of the real estate in box 9. 3 can't go here because of the knight's move, so 3 is in one of those 2 cells. 3 in box 5 is restricted now. It's got to be in one of those 2 cells. Still don't really know very much about what's in the blue region though. Now, let's come back to looking at row 4. We were looking at that. We need 3, 6, 7 and 9 in there. 3, 6, 7, 9. Now, do we know anything? We know that's not 3. Can't actually see anything useful there. Oh, no, I can. I can, this square. Ah, it's beautiful. Classic, this is classic art here. Look at this. This square cannot be 6, 7 or 9. Because if it is, you've got to put a 6, 7, 9 in the blue. Because of this 6, 7, 9. If you put 6, 7, you put a 6 in there, you've got to put a 6 in the blue. But that means there has to be a 6 in the blue there. And there can't be because there's a 6 in the column. So this is sort of a weirdness. But the weirdness tells us that this digit must be a 3. That means that we get no 3s there. We can place 3. Look, the 3s by Sudoku and knight's move must go in the top row. Gives us a 3 here. Gives us a 4 here. 4 now. Where does 4 go? In box 9. If we believe our pencil marks, and I do, 4 has to go here. 4 has to go in one of those 2 cells. That can't be 3 anymore. 3 must be one of 3 positions in box 4. And we grind to a halt again. This column is quite cluttered though. We need 2, 5 and 6 into the open cells. So let's put that in. That can't be 2. Now this is where I'm liable to miss a knight's move restriction. That can't. This is a 2 just in the column. It's the only place a 2 can go. 2 must be in one of 3 cells over here. And okay. Now we know the composition of these purple squares because they have to be identical to this. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 6, 7, 9 here, yeah, that's reflecting those digits. So this square must also be a 6, 7 or a 9 to complete the triple that we need in the 7-cell region. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Those 2 squares. This 6, 7, 9 triple is very unusual, but it means those two squares cannot be 6, 7 or 9. Because if we try a 6 in this square, it removes the possibility these two can't be 6 because of Sudoku, that can't be 6 because of Knight's Move, and of course it works identically there. Those two would be ruled out by Sudoku, this by Knight's Move. Now if you can't put 6, 7, 9 in here, what can you put in? A pair. Because we've got, so 2 and 8 is all you can put into those squares. 2 resolves it, that can't be 2, we get a 2, 8 pair. That means that's a 2, look, by Sudoku, which means this is a 2 by Sudoku. Two must live in one of those cells, I think. Can't see what the 8's doing. I'm not sure it's doing very much. These three squares have got to be 6, 7 and 9. Now, this square is interesting because that sees the whole of this triple. This square sees 6, 7 and 9 in row 2. So actually this sees 1 as well. This can't be very much. This can be, what can this be? It can't be 1, it can't be 2, 3, 4, 5. Can this only be 8, I think? I just want to double check that. It can't be 1, it can't be 2, 3, 4, 5. And it can't be 6, 7 or 9. This is an 8. It's a naked single. Now that means... oh no, that means this square has to be an 8 because you can't put an 8 in the blue. Ah, yeah, okay. When I got this digit with the 6, 7, 9 thing, I should have thought about its symmetrical counterpart, which is this square. So this 8... ruling itself out of there, rules it out of there, and I've still got to put an 8 in row 5 of the grid. So those squares were always going to be, no, not necessarily always going to be equal, because there's clearly some equivalence between this square and one of those three squares, but actually here we know what it is. This square has to be 8. That 8 fixes this square, that's got to be 2, that's got to be 8, that's got to be 2, I think. Now I've got to put an 8 in box 3, and where can it go? It can only go here. And, okay. I've got to put 5, 6 and 9 into this box, and there's a 5 and a 6 in this column, so that must be 9. This must be a 5 or a 6. This 9 is locking a 9 into exactly one of those two positions in box 2, which forces a 9 out of this square in box 1. 8 must be in one of those two cells because of this 8 and these 8s interacting. Now, I still don't really know what's in here, do I? So this row needs 1, 3, 4 and 8. And that can't be 8 because of the 8 here. And it can't, oh, this is a naked single. It can't be 3 or 4. This is 1. 1 gets ruled out of those. These become 3, 4 and 8. We know that's not 8. We know that's not 4 because of the Knight's Move. 1 here means 1 must be in exactly one of those two positions. So 1, which we could have seen this the other way around. 1 must be in one of those two positions because 1 is in the blue now. These squares are 6, 7 and 9. Now that 6 sees that one. Oh no, this 6 sees both of those. So that must be a 6. There's definitely a 6 in here. We can't keep it a Knight's Move away from its friend. 6 is in one of those two. This becomes a 7, 9 pair. That's not 6 anymore. The gas is getting put on. Now, that 6 is seeing that. Oh, okay, yeah, that 6 is forcing this to be a 6 in the row. It's the only place it can go. So 6 now. It's probably restricted. I just can't quite see how. 6 has got to be in one of those 3 squares, I think. Those 2 squares are a 3-7 pair to complete that column. And that's not quite resolved. This column still needs 5, 7, 8, 9. 5 there, so this might be restricted. Let's put them all in. That can't be 5. That can't be 5. No, we can do better for this square. This square sees that square. So in effect, this square sees the whole of the column, or the whole of the unused cells in the column. So whatever we put in these 4 squares can never appear in this square. Otherwise, this square rules out those cells from this triple. So actually, let's just look at this. What can this is 1, 6, 7 and 9. So we cannot put 7 and 9 in this square. If you put a 9 in this square, it rules 9 out from that and all of those. That's not going to work. So this has to be the other digit, which is 8. Oops, 8. So that's no 8 there. So 8, this is important. 8 is now locked into the same digits as 4 down there. So this becomes a 4-8 pair, except that there's an 8 there. So this becomes an 8. This becomes a 4. This becomes... Oh, look, this is all getting done now. 3, 8, 4. Surprisingly, that's just ended that run of lovely digits. This is 1, 7 and 9. And we hit the wall again. It's quite difficult with this puzzle to know where to look next. I keep feeling like I'm looking in the wrong place. This column, I need to put 1 in it somewhere. 1, 6, 7 and 9 into those squares. 1, 6, 7 and 9. Now that can't be 9. I can see that. That can't be 9. That can't be 7. There's a 7 there. Oh, this can't be 7. If that's 7, you can't put a 7 in either position in box 5. So that's not 7. 1, 6 pair here, so this isn't 6. This becomes a 7, 9 pair, and we get a 6 in the grid. That is a hard 1, 6. 6 and 6 there. So 6 is in one of these 2 cells where it doesn't align. This column maybe. We now need 1, 3, 7 and 9. This can't be 3 or 9, so this is a 1 or a 7. There's probably something looking at it that I can't see. There must be a 3 in one of these 2 cells. Oh no. I mean, this puzzle it's very intricate, even once knowing the trick. That can't be a 1. I'm just seeing the occasional knight's move restriction. That can't be a 6 for the same reason. No, I can't see anything else. Two cells are quite interesting in column 2, because these 2 cells see those 3 cells because of the knight's move. So these 2 cells here are much more constrained than you might at first glance think. So we can rule out from these 2 yellow squares 1, 7 and 9. For example, if I put 7 there, you now can't put a 7 into those cells. So I'll do them. I don't know which one to do first. I'll do this one first. So this one can't be 1. It can't be 2, 3, 4. It can be 5, I think. It can be 6. And it can't be 7, 8 or 9. So 5 or 6 here. Can we rule anything out? I have a horrible feeling I'm missing something there. This one can't be, right, it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be 5. It can't be 6. It can't be 7, 9. Ah, this one is a naked single because it can't be 1, 7 and 9. So that can only be 5. That gives, that's beautiful. That gives us 5 and 6 over here. That gives us a 5 down there. That gives us a 5 here, look, that's got to be a 5. And now, yeah, now that can't be a 5 anymore, which we could have seen just looking at the column. So this is a 6, this is a 5 by Sudoku. This 6 is pointing back in here, giving us a 1 and a 6. That's a 7 now, because it can't be a 1. That's not 7. These two squares are 1 and 9 to complete the row. Therefore, this square is a 3, I think. And we must be on the verge of cracking it now. Crack, you thing. 179 there. No, that can still be anything. 179. Oh, these 3 squares maybe. I need 1, 6. Oh, I need 1, 6 and 9 into these 3 squares. That square sees a 6 and a 9 by knight's move. So this is a 1. This is a 6, 9 pair. The 1 means that's not a 1. That gives us a 7, 9 pair in this column. So that's a 1. That's a 9. That's not 9 anymore. This is a 1 or a 7 by Sudoku, and it can't be a 1. So this might be it. 7 goes here. 1 goes here, 9 goes here, 7 goes here, 7, 9 get unwound, 9 and 7 get unwound, 7 goes in at the bottom, 7 and 3, that must be a 3, that's a 9, that's a 1 all of a sudden, and all of a sudden we are going much better. We can't get rid of 7s from those squares. This 6 fixes, yeah, we're there, 6, 9, 6, 9, hit check, yes. And that's how to solve that very straightforward puzzle from Ard. I have no clue what Mark was thinking when he took hours on it. No doubt he will tell you some story when you launch his video later on tonight. I wouldn't believe much of what he says. It's quite straightforward. I'm sure you agree with me. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.